Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for March the 25th. Today we are reading together Psalm number 37. Psalm number 37, which is entitled Instruction in Wisdom. We are told this is a psalm of David. It is very much a wisdom psalm, and it is instead of speaking to God as some of these psalms do, this particular psalm is going to focus on David speaking and giving wisdom to people. This is kind of a almost like a counseling session psalm where he's giving advice and giving wisdom to those who need to hear it. And the way he sets up the distilling of this wisdom is to talk about something that we've seen already a number of times throughout the Psalms, the choosing of the two paths. You can either go down the path that belongs to the evildoer, to the wicked person that is described within this psalm, or you can be like the righteous person, the blameless person, the one who commits his way to Yahweh. So those are the two choices that we have within the psalm. And we're going to see the wisdom that David shares concerning the choosing of these two particular pathways in life. So let me get the text of Psalm 37 up on the screen, and we'll read along together here. Psalm 37 and verse number 1. Psalm 37, verse number 1. Do not be agitated by evildoers. Do not envy those who do wrong, for they wither quickly like grass, and they wilt like tender green plants. Trust in Yahweh and do what is good. Dwell in the land and live securely. Take delight in Yahweh, and he will give you your heart's desires. Commit your way to Yahweh. Trust in him, and he will act, making your righteousness shine like the dawn, your justice like the noonday. Be silent before Yahweh and wait expectantly for him. Do not be agitated by one who prospers in his way, by the person who carries out evil plans. Refrain from anger and give up your rage. Do not be agitated. It can only bring harm. For evildoers will be destroyed, but those who put their hope in Yahweh will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked person will be no more. Though you look for him, he will not be there. But the humble will inherit the land and will enjoy abundant prosperity. The wicked person schemes against the righteous and gnashes his teeth at him. Yahweh laughs at him because he sees that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn the sword and strung the bow to bring down the poor and needy and to slaughter those whose way is upright. Their swords will enter their own hearts, and their bows will be broken. The little that the righteous person has is better than the abundance of many wicked people. For the arms of the wicked will be broken, but Yahweh supports the righteous. Yahweh watches over the blameless all their days, and their inheritance will last forever. They will not be disgraced in times of adversity. They will be satisfied in days of hunger. But the wicked will perish. Yahweh's enemies, like the glory of the pastures, will fade away. They will fade away like smoke. The wicked person borrows and does not repay, but the righteous one is gracious in giving. Those who are blessed by Yahweh will inherit the land, but those cursed by him will be destroyed. A person's steps are established by Yahweh, and he takes pleasure in his way. Though he falls, he will not be overwhelmed, because Yahweh supports him with his hands. I have been young, and now I am old. Yet I have not seen the righteous abandoned, or his children begging for bread. He is always generous, always lending, and his children are a blessing. Turn away from evil and do what is good, and settle permanently. For Yahweh loves justice and will not abandon his faithful ones. They are kept safe forever, but the children of the wicked will be destroyed. The righteous will inherit the land and dwell in it permanently. The mouth of the righteous utters wisdom. His tongue speaks, excuse me, his tongue speaks what is just. The instruction of his God is in his heart. His steps do not falter. The wicked one lies in wait for the righteous and intends to kill him. Yahweh will not leave him in the power of the wicked one, or allow him to be condemned when he is judged. Wait for Yahweh and keep his way, and he will exalt you to inherit the land. You will watch when the wicked are destroyed. I have seen a wicked, violent person, well rooted, like a flourishing native tree. Then I passed by and noticed that he was gone. I searched for him, but he could not be found. Watch the blameless and observe the upright, for the person of peace will have a future, but transgressors will all be eliminated. The future of the wicked will be destroyed. The salvation of the righteous is from Yahweh, their refuge in a time of distress. Yahweh helps and delivers them. He will deliver them from the wicked and will save them because they take refuge in him. This is Psalm number 37. As we're reading along in that psalm, you might be thinking, "Oh, Nick, did you turn too many pages and end up in the Proverbs accidentally?" And it's very true that this psalm is very Proverbs sounding. A number of little snippets of wise sayings, general truths that could be seen as we go throughout life. It's probably good to note that this psalm is divided up in these little one and two verse segments because it is an acrostic of the Hebrew alphabet, and I don't know Hebrew, so I have to take the word of those who know better than I do about the acrostic reality of this psalm. And some say it's not a perfect acrostic, as others would be, like Psalm 119, but that is certainly a aspect of this psalm that is good to note. This psalm focuses on wisdom. It is a wisdom psalm. And again, it is instruction that David is giving to the reader to choose the right path. There is a very clear contrasting of the righteous and the wicked within the psalm. And that also includes the outcome of both of the paths that the righteous and the wicked walk on. And he begins by telling the righteous person, don't be agitated by evildoers or envy those who do wrong. Don't envy them just because they might prosper in some ways more than you do. In fact, I think about verse number 16, especially, that says, the little that the righteous person has is better than the abundance of many wicked people. For the arms of the wicked will be broken, but Yahweh supports the righteous. And it can be very easy for us to be discouraged when we look around and see evil people having more success than us in many various ways. Yet we're reminded by the wise man David here that it's better to have a little and be righteous than to have a lot and be very prosperous, because Yahweh does not support those who are wicked. And again, that wisdom is supported in verse number 2, that they might have something good now, but they're wither and they fade very quickly. They are not enduring. So here's the instruction then. Main instruction, I think, would be here in this first few verses. Verses 3 through 9, I would say, is the main instruction portion of the psalm. The rest of it is really talking about the differing paths and the differing results that these two types of living end up experiencing. Notice these things: you need to trust in Yahweh, do what is right, take delight in Him. And especially verse number 5, we might term verse number 5 kind of the thesis of this psalm. Commit your way to Yahweh. Trust in Him, and He will act, making your righteousness shine like the dawn, your justice like the noonday. There's also be silent before Yahweh, wait expectantly for Him. Have the expectation that He will do good, for He is good. Do not be agitated by the one who prospers in his way. Going back to verse number 1, refrain from anger, give up your rage. Again, do not be agitated. It only brings harm. Evildoers will be destroyed, but those who put their hope in Yahweh will inherit the land. We see this a lot throughout this text, this idea of inheriting the land. And very simply, this could just be referring to the inheritance that the land was for those within Israel who received the land by God's good grace. And remember, there were many warnings that if they did not honor the covenant, if they did not show covenant loyalty, that the land would be taken away from them. So here that is being supported within this psalm. So again, the instruction: trust, take delight in Yahweh, do what is good, commit your way to Him. wait expectantly. Don't be angry. Put your hope in Yahweh. If you do all these things, then you will inherit the land. And there's a number of other good blessings that'll come that we'll note as we go throughout this psalm. Verses 10 and 11 are interesting, specifically verse number 11, where it says that the humble will inherit the land and will enjoy abundant prosperity. That sounds very, very much like the Beatitudes, what we see in Matthew chapter 5 about the humble. I believe it's the humble specifically, and let me check the language of the text itself. Matthew chapter 5, in verse number 5 is the same language. Blessed are the humble, for they will inherit the earth. Quite possible that Jesus would have been drawing on this particular psalm in stating that in the famed Sermon on the Mount. Beginning verse number 12, again, we get back to the really comparing the results of these two different paths. The wicked person schemes against the righteous, gnashes his teeth at him, but here's the result. Yahweh laughs at that person because he sees that his day is coming. He sees that his day of punishment, that the day of recompense is coming down the road. The wicked are drawing their sword, they're stringing their bow to bring down the poor and the needy, to slaughter the upright, but notice that their sword will enter their own hearts and their bows will be broken. Verse number 18, Yahweh watches over the blameless all their days. Again, their inheritance will last forever. They will not be disgraced. They will be satisfied. Moving on to verse number 22, those who are blessed by Yahweh will inherit the land. Verse 23 and 24, the person's steps are established because he takes pleasure in his way. I think that's the righteous person takes pleasure in Yahweh's ways. He will not be overwhelmed because why? Because the Lord supports him. Verse 25, what David has seen, I have been young and now I am old, and I have seen that the righteous are not abandoned. I see the children not begging for bread. He is a generous person, always lending. His children are a blessing. Yahweh will not abandon his faithful ones. They are kept safe. Again, the righteous will inherit the land. Verse 29. We're just kind of going through all the blessings that come for the righteous person. His steps do not falter in verse 31. Yahweh will not leave him to the power of the wicked one. He will not allow him to be condemned when he is judged. He will exalt you, he will exalt you to inherit the land. Verse 34. Verse 37, the person of peace will have a future. And then we'll get to verses 39 and 40 here in a few moments. So we just read through the text again, and we see these good blessings that are connected with living righteously, living blamelessly. Again, going back to verses 3 through 9, trusting in Yahweh, doing what is good, delighting in him, committing your ways to him, waiting expectantly. These good things come with these good results. On the other hand, again, I noted verse 15 already, that they do these wicked things, but the swords will enter their own hearts. Their bows will be broken. Verse 17, the arms of the wicked will be broken. Verse number 20, the wicked are going to perish. They're going to fade away like smoke. Verse 22, they will be destroyed. Verse number 28, the children of the wicked will be destroyed. Let's see here. Verse number 36. Verse 30, scoot back to verse 35. I have seen the wicked, a violent person, well rooted, like a flourishing tree. Now, I think that he's doing really well. I think that he's going to be sustained. I think he's going to be around for a long time. But then I passed by and noticed that he was gone. I searched for him, but he could not be found. Verse 38, transgressors will be eliminated. The future of the wicked will be destroyed. As a little bit of an aside here, how did I find out? How was I able to identify so quickly the various texts or the various content of these texts? The Bible color marking makes it really easy. Until I see some red or some blue, I know that that's bad stuff going on and punishment for it. And if I see some green and some orange, I know that that is good living and blessings that come with that. So, if you haven't given some color marking a try here, especially with this daily Bible reading of the Psalms, again, I can't encourage that enough. It just really helps in quickly identifying the text and helping you to work through it. But the conclusion is verses 39 and 40. The salvation of the righteous is from Yahweh. Their refuge, Yahweh is the refuge in a time of distress. Yahweh helps and delivers them. He will deliver them from the wicked one. So there's a direct contrast here. The wicked in verse 38, they are eliminated, they are destroyed, but Yahweh delivers those. He delivers those who are righteous. He saves them. Why? Because they take refuge in him. So verses 39 and 40 both focus on the reality that the righteous, again, those who trust in Yahweh, those who do what is good, those who commit their ways to him, those who wait expectantly, those who refrain from anger, they give up rage, those who put their hope in Yahweh, they will find refuge in him. This is just, again, very, very clearly a wisdom psalm. David especially imploring the reader to seek the better path. Yes, it sounds very Proverbsy, if I can describe it that way, because it just gives, again, good general truths that will help us to understand the better way, or excuse me, help us to recognize the better way and motivate us and encourage us to pursue the better way. He speaks so clearly about the blessings that come with being a righteous person, that come with striving to be blameless, that come with trusting in the Lord. And then the very opposite is true. If you are a wicked person, if you are an evil doer, if you don't do right to your fellow man, if you don't trust in Yahweh, if you're a transgressor, then you will be destroyed. Here's David. And I go back again to verse number 25. Verse number 25. I have been young and now I am old. So David's been there. He's done that. He's got the experience. He's working with the Spirit to write these true statements, and they are for our good. So I hope that we'll take these texts, or these truths that are found here in Psalm 37, and that we will allow them to motivate us and to lead us to pursue the path of righteousness, blamelessness, and trusting in Yahweh. If you have any questions or comments about Psalm 37, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. And I appreciate you taking some time reading along with me on this good Monday morning. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. May God bless you in all that you do. And we will be back at it again on Wednesday, reading together from Psalm 38. Have a great couple of days and hope to see you then. Take care and God bless.